How's it going, everybody? I have got another ultra cheap lens. This one I think is right around, I think it was about $25, $30. And this is a busted up tiny box. It's actually a CCTV lens. And it is a 35 millimeter, holy cow, f1.7. It's tiny. Look at how small this thing is. Forgive the fingernails, it's a stain from finishing a table. And Photocy, I think. I don't know how to pronounce that. So this one feels much better built, much more robust than the super telephoto one that I had earlier, or that I'll have next. It's a tiny little lens for a tiny little camera. This one might make for a really good fit for maybe street photography of some sort. I'm looking forward to trying this one out. This could be cool. All right, well, let's put it on the camera. All right, so this is the 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens. It's a tiny lens. This is the gigantic telephoto lens that I unboxed in this video. And this is the 35 millimeter 1.7. It's almost hilariously small. Alright, so let's put it on and see. It's got a little dent right there, a little circle, so you know it's not colored in or anything. And that's your index point. You just line that up with your little right dot, and you're good to go. And there it is on the A6500. Now this is it recording. I think the picture is pretty good. This is at f1.7, I'm pretty sure. I can dial it back. It is a, oh, that's the focus. The aperture has no detents, so there's no clicks. It's a declicked aperture, I guess that's what they call it. So I can just nice and gently slide it back to where we can see all the stuff going on behind me. But as I roll the aperture, there we go, nice and creamy. I have noticed as well that all the bokeh stays perfectly circular as you go back and forth. Let me see if I can't find a light. All right, so there is a point of light. It's actually my cell phone light. And watch as I run the aperture down. It stays circular the whole time. There's some very expensive lenses that can't even do that. You got a nice little starburst effect here at f16, which is where it bottoms out. And you crank it back up, or a nice circular bokeh ball again. However, if you off-center it, it goes into a half moon shape. This is at minimum focus, by the way. So this really explains why that bokeh was so circular. Look at how many aperture blades this thing has. I think that picture is pretty good. Let's take it out and shoot some pictures with it and see how it works.
That you do, I would be
you can actually watch and see where the lens isn't sharp with the focus peaking. Look at the ring that it makes. You can see that it is not sharp in the middle, but it is sharp here on the edges. And as you go out, it's sharp on the very edges, not sharp in the middle. I thought that was an interesting effect. It's got a weird kind of dreamy effect to it. See the corners? It's in focus and it creeps towards the center. And this is wide open aperture. Alright, so here are the sample pictures I've taken. I shot this one in f1.7, f5.6, and f16. They were all shot at ISO 100, and you can see the shutter speed drop as I click through them, so you can verify the aperture because there's no metadata. Anyway, so zooming in right here on the middle, you can see that f1.7 is quite soft. Looking around, you can see that the edges are pretty much completely blurred out. Jumping down to f5.6, it gets much sharper right here in the middle, but the edges still kind of fall off. But it looks very good. And then jumping down to f16, it helps in the corners, and the center is still very sharp, considering it's a $25 lens, but the corners are still extremely soft. So we're just going to compare a couple of these real quick and show you guys how bad the perimeter gets. So let's select both of them and compare them. Zooming in here on the middle, you can see that f5.6 is a significant jump in the right direction as far as sharpness goes, and going over to the f16, they're almost indistinguishable except for when you go away from the center of the image. When you leave the center of the image, the f16 is much sharper than the f5.6. I'm actually quite impressed with how sharp these images are at the center, but the edge is just some of the worst I've ever seen. Alright, so a couple of concluding thoughts about this tiny little lens here. It is kind of a fun little lens to have. For $25 or $30, if you liked the way that some of the sample pictures turned out, then I'd say go ahead and get it. It's only 25 bucks, and if you want something that's got a super wide aperture without really breaking the bank, this could be a great option for you, especially if you're not going for super high quality tack sharp images. You just need something that's sharper in the center and does a pretty good job with subject separation. I thought a few of those images I took turned out really great. Considering the price point that this lens comes in at, I don't see, you really can't give it a very hard time. One thing that I have noticed is that after a couple days of use, the mounting ring has loosened up. I haven't quite figured out how to tighten it yet, but it does kind of give a tilt shift effect to some of the pictures. As you might have seen in one of the pictures with my wife, it was a weird amount of stuff was in focus and a weird amount of stuff was out of focus. So go take a good hard look at that picture and you'll see what can happen if this lens does loosen up. I may just put some super glue on it and call it good enough, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you liked it and subscribe to my channel, and catch me in the next one.